good evening. So today on the Ink and Inspiration blog hop, we have a theme of watercolour. I'm not fabulous at watercolouring, so I thought I would show you something a little bit different. I've used a different watercolour technique background on my card that I've got up today on the blog, so I thought quickly I would show you how to do it. So this is what we're going to create. Please bear with me, this is the first time I've done a video actually making a card and talking at the same time, so I hope I go okay. So I'm just going to put this to the side. I've gathered my supplies, so I have got my re-inkers that I'm going to use. If you don't have re-inkers, you can use your stamp pads and apply it directly to the acetate. You're also going to need a water spritzer. I'm using a palette knife to stir it around, but you could use just the back of a teaspoon. Don't use your bone folder because you'll get stains on it. You're also going to need a piece of tissue paper, which I have here, and you're also going to need some cardstock in the size that you want your background piece to be, plus some wet glue. So let's get going. So it's quick and it's easy. As I said, I'm using re-inkers today just for ease of mixing the paint. And basically I'm just going to add a little bit of my re-inkers. You want it to be about the size of the piece of tissue paper that you're going to lay down. Remembering a little bit goes a long way, so I'm actually touching my re-inkers to the piece of acetate. Once I have done that, I am going to give it a good spritz, and as you can see, as I spritz it, my re-inkers are bleeding onto my piece of acetate. Once I've done that, I'm just going to grab my palette knife and I'm going to give it a mix around and spread them all out. You want them to blend a little bit nicely, remembering that you want it out to the edges. I'm then going to grab my piece of tissue paper and I'm going to lay it down. Now you can see it sucks all that ink into the piece of paper, and then I'm going to lift it off. Any extra water will be left on the paper. If you've got some dry spots on your tissue paper, re-dip it in. I'm just going to put it off to the side to dry off a little bit. I've got a piece of paper towel on the side. Now, for example, this one's one I started before and it's already started to dry. But if I wanted it to be a little bit darker, I could add another layer onto my tissue paper. So once it's fully dried, I could re-dip it all over again. And I'm just going to use the bits that I've got left. And it just gives a different effect. So it gives you that sort of spotty effect that you can see on mine. Now I'm going to pop this one to the side and grab a third piece that I've done 2 layers on. So you can see that the colour is more vibrant and there's, different colours and shadings coming through. So the next step that I have is that I'm going to attach it to my piece of Whisper White. Now to get the sort of the crinkledy little effect that I've got, I'm going to do something that's sometimes a little bit scary for people. I'm going to crinkle it up and unfold it. So you get that crinkled effect. I'm then going to grab my wet glue. If you've got a glue stick, you could use that as well. But what you want to do is you want to make sure that you actually get the glue all over your piece of cardstock. If you miss a spot and there's not glue holding it down, it kind of gets a little bubble in it. So I actually use this end of my Tombow glue to make sure that I spread it all over my piece of card. And it's basically like contacting a book from here on in. Now I'm going to lay it down, and rather than actually spreading it out, I am pushing down the crinkles into that glue. So it hasn't got lumps as such, and I'll bring it up nice and close so you can sort of see it. Can you see how all the crinkles are in there? But they're not lumpy, they're pushed into the glue, so they're stuck down, and the colour, as soon as it's applied to the Whisper White cardstock, it's far more vibrant. The rest of it is pretty simple. All as I do is just like covering a school book, I cut a little bit off, and I actually cut a triangle on each side. Now you could use glue to stick it down. I'm a bit lazy, to be honest, and I grab my snail or my fast fuse. Just trim that off. So I'm just going to use a little bit of fast fuse to attach it down, remembering to use the tick at the end. Try not to get other bits attached to it. Let's just double back on itself. There we go. And the last bit. And then that's my piece for my card that I've created. So as you can see, every single piece will come out differently. Depending on your colour combinations, it'll be the different colours that you get. So I hope you've enjoyed this, and I hope it's something you might like to give a try. Thanks so much. Bye.